Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're exploring something absolutely profound. We are going to look at a very specific ancient code designed for one of the most universally challenging human experiences we go through, surviving the grueling long middle of a difficult journey. It's called Seheiah, and it's a framework built entirely around the concept of endurance and long recovery. Seriously, if you've ever felt like you're running a marathon with literally no finish line in sight, this explainer is going to completely change how you view your own stamina. Now, I want you to consider something for a second. What actually happens after the acute crisis passes? Think about it. The initial shock is over, right? The diagnosis has been given, the surgery is done, the immediate collapse has been absorbed and managed. So, what's left? Well, what's left is often the hardest part of the whole shebang. It's the months and sometimes even years of rebuilding. You find yourself in what the source material so perfectly and heavily calls the long middle. This is that brutal stretch where you are no longer dying, but you're definitely not yet well. Think about the sheer, bone-deep exhaustion of chronic conditions, or that quiet, relentless fatigue that comes with long-term caregiving. You wake up, you do the physical therapy, you take all the right steps, but no single day feels like it's doing enough to get you back to where you used to be. It is a heavy, slow process. And you know what? That is exactly where the code of Sihaya steps in. Okay, let's dive into this. First, we'll cover surviving the long middle. 2, the anatomy of the cord. 3, when to use Sihaya. 4, the activation practice. And 5, living with the name. Section 1, surviving the long middle and dealing with the background panic. So, the exact energetic problem we're addressing here is a nervous system that is just completely stuck in a state of background panic. Because when you've been through a crisis, your body kind of forgets how to downshift. It thinks it needs to race the clock to heal, and that urgency, ironically enough, actually slows down the real recovery. So what exactly is Seheiah, pronounced Shia? It carries the meaning God who heals. In the classical tradition, it's anchored right in the Sephira of Chesed, which relates to loving kindness and expansion, and it's tied to the astrological decan of Leo, 15 to 20 degrees. Now, while earlier codes in this specific spiritual framework might ignite immediate healing or answer a desperate cry for help, Seheiah is entirely different. It is the patron of longevity. It protects against slow attrition. It's literally the code that holds the field steady when you are just worn down over time. Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Code and the Structure of Endurance. Understanding the structural origins of this name reveals exactly why it's such a game changer for long-term endurance. Now, what's really interesting here is how visually descriptive the ancient sources are. The code is made up of 3 specific Hebrew letters, Shin, Aleph, and Ha, and these are drawn from the 28th positions of the Red Sea verses. Let's break it down. First, you have Shin on the right, a 3-pronged fire that basically burns away what is broken and no longer serves you. Then Aleph right in the middle, silent unity, holding that quiet ground underneath your recovery. And finally, Ha on the left, an open window, representing the patient breath that oxygenates the whole process over time. Fire, silent unity, and open breath. It is the exact sequence that long recovery demands. I do want to impartially address a common misconception you might run into. Some modern streams of Kabbalah have adapted and marketed this specific name for finding a soulmate or an ideal partner. However, if you look at the classical sources, they universally describe Sihaya as the code for endurance, physical preservation, and recovery from a long illness. So, for the purpose of our explainer today, we are exclusively following that older, wider tradition of physical endurance, focusing on how it preserves the body. Section 3, when to use Sihaya to outlast the threat. Practically speaking, when are you actually supposed to run this code? Well, the simple answer from the sources is you turn to Sihaya when you need to outlast something. Let's walk through a few of these specific scenarios. You use it in that long middle of recovery from illness or surgery, when the days are just blurring together into one long slog. You use it for chronic conditions that demand a level of patience your willpower alone simply can't sustain. It's for long-term caregiving, when you need stamina that isn't just going to suddenly collapse on you. It's even used protectively if you happen to work in high-risk environments with environmental or disease risks, acting as a preventative frequency. And honestly, most importantly, you run it to calm a nervous system that has been running on urgency for so long that it has totally forgotten how to rest. Sihaya rewards steady, low-intensity maintenance. Section 4, the activation practice, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Knowing what the code is only half the battle, right? How do we actually use it? The sources really emphasize that Seheiah requires unhurried time. You absolutely cannot rush this. Rushing it undercuts the very work the code is trying to do for you. So the practice is broken down into 4 distinct phases. First, you receive the letters. You visually take in the shin, the aleph, and the hey, moving right to left, internalizing that pattern of fire, stillness, and opening. Second, you sound the name, slowly, Seheiah, Seheiah. You let that vibration settle super low in your chest and belly, doing about 3 or 4 repetitions. Third, you enter the field. You close your eyes, and crucially, you do not try to look at the finish line of your recovery. Just settle into the present step you are on today, letting your braced nervous system finally downshift. And fourth, you seal the code. Notice the deliberate pacing we're talking about here. The tuning for this name happens in the pauses just as much as in the sounds themselves. When you take real space between repetitions, your body gets the signal that it's finally allowed to unbrace itself from months or even years of tension. The physical technique of leaving space allows the body to recalibrate to a pace it can actually sustain. Section 5. Living with the name and quieting urgency. Sihaya is definitely a code you live with, rather than just casually visit. If you use it daily or near daily during a long passage of difficulty, you start to see very clean results. Over that first week, the primary shift you'll notice is a quieting of that low-grade urgency that has been constantly draining your energy. In the tradition, the gematria, which is the numerical value, of Sihaya is 316. By attuning your system to this specific numerical frequency, an amazing shift happens. The source material points out that your actual recovery time might not dramatically accelerate because, hey, the body takes the time it takes, but the energetic cost of that recovery drops considerably. You literally stop fighting the clock. And the cool thing is, in this holistic framework, Seheiah doesn't have to work alone. You can pair it. If you find your vitality completely drained on a given day, you can combine it with a code Leilahel to refill your energetic reserves. Or, if a new aspect of an underlying chronic condition flares up and needs clearing, you pair it with Mahasya. They work together perfectly to support the body's comprehensive healing. We mentioned a minute ago that the final step of activation is sealing the code. You do this by simply placing one hand on your belly, one on your lower back, taking a slow breath, and reciting its psalm anchor. O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste for my help. That's Psalm 71:12. This comes from a prayer of someone who has endured many, many seasons of difficulty. They aren't asking for a quick, magical rescue. They are asking for ongoing companionship for the long road ahead. So, the crucial point is this. Yes, the work of healing is often a long road, but Sihaya serves to remind your nervous system that you have company, and more importantly, that there is enough time to rebuild. Your body can stop panicking and finally start doing the quiet, steady work of deep repair. Which leaves us right here. If you are stuck in that long metal, just totally exhausted by the slow pace of your own healing, maybe it's time to stop fighting the timeline. Are you ready to stop racing the clock and finally outlast your hardest chapter? Take a breath. Take the time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching. If something in this resonated with you, then you're already closer than you think. If you're ready to go deeper, there's a link below to my book, Quantum Angel Codes, The 72 Hidden Names of God. This isn't theory, it's a framework you can actually use. Tap the link below and step into it.